Hello, welcome to Thirst for Knowledge. Thirst for Knowledge is a seemingly simple game of clever trading and engine building. You will play as 11th century monks before the time of the printing press, copy books and brew beer to trade in order to build the most robust library. Use your knowledge to trade books and brew beer, building your engine to fulfill library needs. Hire apprentices to help you copy more books, increasing your inventory, and unlock achievements throughout the game. The game is for 2 to 4 players. It takes about 40 to 90 minutes to play and is for ages 8 and up. In the 11th century, before the advent of the printing press, books were copied by hand by monks. Certain monks also brewed beer. In this game, you do both. Each turn, players choose to trade books with travelers, brew beer and copy books, or visit taverns. Use your knowledge of books and beer to unlock achievements, allowing you to donate to the library. The winner of the game is the first to donate to the library 3 times. On players' turns, they will choose one of 4 actions. They can trade with travelers, they can produce by brewing beer and copying books, they can deliver beer to taverns, or they can donate books to the main library and fulfill achievements. Now I'm going to show you a trade action. The trade action consists of a player visiting the town board and trading with the traveler. This is the town board. It has 8 travelers coming into town. The beginning of the line is here, the front of the line, and the end of the line there. As you move down the line, if you want to trade with certain travelers, you'll need to pay beer. Every player starts with 5 beer at the beginning of the game. They can use that as a resource to move down the line. They can also use it to purchase books from these travelers as well. So brown player's turn, they're going to take the trade action. They're going to come here at the beginning of the line. The beginning of the line is free, so they're going to not pay any beer to trade with this traveler. As soon as a traveler has been taken to trade with, we slide down all of the travelers that are in line, making them less expensive to access. And then the one that was just taken, we take the top card from the pile and place that at the end. This is the traveler here. The top of the card shows the books that they have in their backpack that they have to offer you to trade. The bottom section shows books that they're looking for in those particular categories. So not specifically specific books, but those are the categories they're interested in getting books of. The numbers here, the white numbers, the minus numbers here, are the amount of beer that you can pay them, basically, to take that book from them. They will trade books for beer. So that's great. That's another really good way to spend your beer as a resource. So I'm going to decide to trade with this traveler at the beginning. So the way a trade works is I look at the card, and I look at my board, and I see that I do have some of the things that they're looking for. I have some history, or I have some trapping, and I have some woodworking, and I do have some literature. So I could make that trade. The left side of your board are common books, so A through E are common books. The right hand side of your board are rare books, so those are worth more. So these are innately worth 1, and these are worth 2. So you can trade 1 common for 1 common, or 1 rare for 1 rare, or 2 commons for 1 rare, or 1 rare for 2 commons. Very simple system, but it works really well. So I'm going to look at this card again, and I see that this I is there, and I want to get that I. So I'm going to figure out a way to get that by trading this A in trapping and this A in woodworking, because those are both commons, and now I'm trading for a rare. So I'm going to go visit the supply, and I'm going to take this rare book here, and I'm going to put it over the I in my history row here. Now, you may be able to see that there's these barrel icons on a lot of these spaces here in the rare section, and whenever you cover one of those up, your beer production goes up, which means you can produce more beer during the production action. So in this case, I covered an I, which has a 2 barrel plus, so I'm going to move my barrel marker up, and that's 1 trade. I'm going to look for an opportunity to maybe trade something else. So I'm going to look at the literature. I have a literature right here that I can trade. And so I'm going to flip that over from this 2 side to a 1, because the 2s mean I have 2 copies of that book, and now I only have 1 if it's face down, doesn't have a number on it. So as long as you have a second copy, you can just flip it over and keep that copy of that book for something else later. So I'm going to trade that for the E. So I'm going to trade it. I'm going to take the E in that. So now that I've done that, now that I can look here and I can see that I can get the C if I wanted to, and I could just spend 3 beer to do that. So on this card, this -3, it means I'm spending 3 beer to purchase that C from this traveler. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to move my beer track down here, my inventory down, and then I'm going to gain the C. I was able to get 3 of the 4 books, and now that is the end of my trade action. The second action players will be taking on their turn is the produce action. The produce action involves copying books and brewing beer, and that's what this side of the board is for. So I'm going to come back to my board, and the first thing I can do is hire. On the right-hand side of their production board, players will have the opportunity to hire 5 different assistants. You pay the amount of production that it's setting for that particular assistant, and then you can hire them for the rest of the game. Think of it as basically you're giving them beer to help you out. So in this case, the first one, I'm going to take the opportunity to hire this assistant, and this assistant means that I need to pay them 2 production. I need to reduce my production by 2 in order to hire them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And what this assistant does is it actually allows me to copy an additional book. I innately can copy 2 books myself. So with my 2 books, I'm going to move on to my copy portion of my production action. I can copy 2 books. Plus, the assistant's going to be able to copy 1 book for me. So I am able to copy any books that I have only 1 copy of. So I might look for an opportunity to maybe copy this one. That one gives me 2. I'm going to flip this one over. That one will give me 2. And let's go with cooking. We'll get two of that. And now that's my copy portion of my production action. And the last part is brewing. So I'm going to look wherever my barrel is. I'm going to produce that number of beers. As you can see that there's 4 different types of beers that you can brew, but at the beginning of the game, you only have access to lager. Everyone has access to lager because it's easy to make. As the game goes on, you're going to be acquiring more and more knowledge about brewing, which is up here. And when you do that, you're going to be able to unlock particular types of beer. We have Pilsner beer that you can brew, amber beer, or stout beer that you can brew as well. So right now, I only have access to lager because that's what I start with. So I'm going to look at my barrel here, and I'm going to produce 3 of that lager. So back up to 5. And that is a produce action. The third action players can take is to deliver beer to taverns. So on the left-hand side over here, we have the tavern. There's 4 different taverns that are set up at the beginning of the game. They're kind of randomly decided upon. And what we do here is you can go to each one of these taverns, spending the amount of beer that they're asking for, and you're basically delivering that beer to them. As a reward for doing that, you can take one of these books that are on the shelf. There's a lot of rare books here. There's also some common books as well. But if you're looking for a particular specific category or subject of book, or a particular book in general, you might want to target this area to deliver to the tavern. Each one of these taverns wants a different type of beer, so it encourages the players to unlock their capability of brewing particular beers. In this case, the brown player decides they're going to visit Edgar Allan Pinot, which is this purple tavern up here. And they can come here and spend 6 of their lager beer, which they had 7, brings them down to 1. And so what they're going to do is they're going to choose one of the 3 books that are here on the tavern. So they're going to take the eye, which is the most rare. They're going to move that back they're going to move it from the tavern board onto their board. And what that does is they cover up a barrel and it bumps their production by 2. The second thing that you're going to be able to do here is you're going to take the number of cards off of this tavern deck. The tavern deck is built at the beginning of the game based on the 4 different categories or subjects that are at the taverns. So this has these 4 categories in it, and I'm going to take the top 2 because that's what that tavern allows me to do. And I have 1 brown and 1 blue, so I can decide which one I want to trade with. I like the option to trade with the brown, which is the wood working. So I'm going to put that one to the discard pile, and then I'm going to take this and I'm going to trade it. And I can trade the trapping, the history, or the beer brewing, which right now I don't have any beer brewing, so it doesn't really benefit me that much, but I did just get some extra history books, and I do still have a nice, I do have a second copy of this hunting and trapping because that's what I did when I did my copying. I actually copied that. So I'm actually going to trade this F, which is a rare, for the brown J, because that's a rare for a rare. And covering up a J allows me to increase my production by 2 as well. And then maybe I will spend my last beer. Actually, yeah, I can spend my last beer to get a second copy of A, because you can do that. As long as I don't have 2 copies already, I can get my second copy of A, which might allow me to use for resources for some other trades. And that is the end of my turn. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do one more trade. I'm going to trade this A that I have a second copy of for the C in woodworking. That way I have more inventory. There we go. And that is the end of my turn. That is the end of the deliver action. The 4th action players have available to them on their turn is to donate to the main library. The way you do a donation is you visit the Request and Achievements board, which is on the right-hand side, and you look at a particular achievement that you might be able to achieve, and then you're going to fulfill or donate the requests that are directly below it. So I'm going to look at the brown players board. The brown player is going to decide to donate, and they do have what it takes to donate. So they're going to look over here on the right-hand side of the board. This achievement is saying that you must have 7 of a particular category, 7 different books from a particular category. In this case, they do have 7 of the history, so they fulfill that achievement. So they're going to put one of their markers onto that spot, and they fulfill are now going to donate the requested books that are directly below that. In this case, this is the request for 3 rare woodworking books, and they happen to have 3 rare woodworking books. So they're going to donate this one. They remove that from their board. They remove this one from their board, but they have 2 copies of the F, so they're just going to turn that one over. And that consists of 3 books, rare books that they're donating, and now they are 1/3 of the way to winning the game. Players can donate any number of times on their turn, but there are a limited number of spots in each of those achievements, so they need to take advantage of their opportunities when they have them. So the game is going to continue until one player has successfully fulfilled their third achievement, and you would finish that round of donations. And then if there's a clear winner, then they are the winner. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker is amount of beer. And then if there's still a tie, it's the number of rare books. And that is the end of the game. I hope you've enjoyed your look into 11th century monk life. We look forward to hearing from you, and thank you very much for your time.